Hey everybody, we're live. We're just about to go live on radio. Here we go.
Stand by.
Happy Thursday to everybody. It's the Bitcoin Otter Show again. Greetings, blessings, and good fortune. We're here on 97.7 FM. KCYP, the city out of McAllen, Texas. We're broadcasting, as you may or may not know, from the McAllen Creative Incubator. Great place here, looking at paintings right now. They have some sort of art gallery going on over there. They got painting, they got music, and radio. Here with Joe Martinez here, the studio owner and producer. And we're glad to be back with you. It's been exactly 1 week since we did this prior, Joe. It's a weekly thing. I'm glad to have whoever is going to stop by. Nobody's in the chat room just yet, but you know, we're here live, and we're here on the radio 97.7. We're here on YouTube, Facebook, and Radio Garden, right? And what was that other one? We got Radio Garden and
TuneIn Radio.
And TuneIn Radio. Okay, so if you want to check us out there, we are there. Thank God we are able to broadcast, hopefully, some sort of message that you'll be able to appreciate and learn from. I'm going to move this over a little bit just like that so I don't have to, crane my neck, so to speak. Anyway, we've got some stuff for you today. It's a pretty informative show. We've had a lot of events happen during the week that I'd like to talk about. And as always, if you want to pop up on the comments here on Facebook Live, I'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. I'll answer questions. I'll debate with you. You want to debate, we can debate. My word is not iron and steel and all that stuff. It's just my word. That's what I have. We all have one, right? So what I'm getting at is, if you want to talk about something, let me know. If you don't agree with me, let me know that too. So what we'll do, like we usually do, is check out the prices of goods, right? So, Charles, how are you doing, Chuck? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. So Chuck's on. He's checking us out. Okay, so here are the prices of goods. And these goods mean gold, silver, and Bitcoin. So what do we have for gold today? $1,869, about an hour ago during show prep, is the price of gold. $1,689 for 1 ounce of gold. All right. What do we got for silver? $22.23. So both of those prices have gone down. Not significantly, but enough so that, hey, if you were waiting for a little dip and you wanted to get some coins or something, it might be a time to do that. And as I've been following for the last few weeks, we've got the average mortgage rate. A lot of us may be fortunate enough to be in the market for a house. So we have a 30-year fixed rate at 6.51%. That's up 0.03% from last week. And we have a 15-year rate at 5.74%. Eddie, we got you on there. Good to see you. And I have a question for any of you out there, and I know I do have some friends out there that are into mortgages, perhaps either writing them or maybe you've been searching around for a while and looking. But perhaps you know, and it's very easy to know more than me on these mortgage rates. But I would imagine, at least in the past it seemed to be, that a 15-year rate was significantly, a point or more, lower than a 30-year rate. And what we're looking at here is pretty much no more than, no more than 0.75. So not even a full percentage point lower for the 15-year rate. That doesn't look right to me, but again, I'm not well versed in these things. So if you have any knowledge on that, throw it up in the comments, and or send me an email when you get a chance at bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. That's bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. You can also use that to throw up some subjects if you'd like me to look into some stuff, comment on it, and or report on it. So here's our crypto news, a little bit of our crypto news for today, Thursday, February 9, 2023. Wow, Joe, already the 9th of February in 2023. Mm-hmm. Harlan, good to see you. Wow, my voice is really cracking today. But please, I will do no singing, just so you know. If you were worried about it, you can put all that to rest. I will not be doing any singing today. Not first of all, for my mates here in the studio, we've got Joe and his son Joseph, and I don't want to hurt their ears. I think there'll probably be blood, and the only way I would be able to put a tourniquet on ears is around the neck, and that wouldn't end up well. So I have very little to no medical knowledge. No tourniquets, so no singing, basically. Now, Dubai takes a stand against privacy coins with ban on anonymity enhancing crypto. What are they talking about? If you're not really well versed in crypto, you may or may not realize that most coins are not anonymous. They're very much trackable. There was a how would you say a myth about coins, cryptos. Thank you, Joseph. I'm going to try and alleviate some of this cracking sound you might all hear on the YouTube feeds and the radio feeds and all that. Oh, thank you. Hopefully that will alleviate some of the issue. So, what cryptocurrencies do is they log, generally speaking, they log transactions from all around the world. So there is really no anonymous aspect to the majority of cryptocurrencies because you can track them, you can see, excuse me, where they're coming from, where they're going. Now, there are what are called privacy coins that basically eliminate that. So you don't know where they're going to, you don't know where they're coming from. You could freely buy, sell, and nobody's the wiser. Now, people might jump up and say, wow, Otter, that's rife for crime. That's ripe for a criminal enterprise. Well, so are cash U.S. dollars. Let me just go there. The Federal Reserve note. How many times has that been laundered? We can't put a number to those things. So anything that can be used for legitimate purposes is normally also used for criminal purposes because we are human. Okay? The Bible says that the heart of a man is deceitful above all things. And I'm not one to say that the Bible doesn't tell the truth because it does. So, if you can use something for good things, you can use it for bad things, right? That's the way I look at it. Anyway, if you have a beef with that, Rob is up. How you doing, Rob? Good to see you. If you have a beef with that, let me know. Let me know. We can discuss it. Throw the pop up there. Joe, what's the station number again?
956-789-0702.
956-789-0702. One more time, Joe.
956-789-0702.
956-789-0702. We'll have you on. Discuss things. Argue with me if you'd like. We could throw debate points here and there. But basically, we want a better understanding. And what we have is right now just my perspective. You want to throw some stuff up in the comments there? We got some interesting group there. Very, very good group of outstanding gentlemen thus far. So, Dubai takes a stand against privacy coins. Why? Well, they want to track everything. Okay? It's Dubai. Dubai is strongly connected, in my opinion, and maybe for a later show, or I can back it up if you give me a chance. Dubai is connected to some of the regimes that brought us not so nice things like constant global war. I don't know. Anyway, Dubai is a really great place if you have a lot of money and you like law and order, because I'll tell you what, people don't mess around in Dubai. If you were an Antifa member, you go to Dubai, you're never leaving Dubai. So, Dubai's Virtual Asset Authority has prohibited the use of privacy coins such as Monero and Zcash, as well as any activities related to the coins. So they want no anonymity. They don't want anyone to be able to do anything without being tracked. I can appreciate that from a government perspective, but I'm a private citizen. So what I would like to say is, if I want to do something privately, I'd like to do it privately. But hey, that's Dubai, right? Anyway, the another subtext says the issuance of anonymity-enhanced cryptocurrencies and all VA activities related to them are prohibited in the Emirate. VA, I think, is a designator for the law that they basically put forth about this kind of stuff. So, while we have a fair amount of how would you say, misinformation about cryptos regarding anonymity, we also have some anonymous coins where you can buy them and no one needs to know. That said, I don't think Dubai is going to be alone in their banning of anonymous crypto coins. That remains to be seen. So, what we have for highlights, and we've had some stuff, man, the balloon. Wow. Joe, I wonder if they had like those squares like they do for the Super Bowl for the balloon. I wonder if somebody, hey, you know, the balloon's going to be popped on Thursday or Friday or whatever, you know. And I wonder who won that. If you got any comments on that, that would be interesting to see if anybody had, you know, a little bit of insight as to, hey, when are they going to pop this thing, or is it just going to return back to China? Who knows? Anyway, in Zero Hedge, we have this one. Zelensky lashes out after Starlink cuts off Ukrainian drones. Okay, well, maybe or maybe not, you may or may not have known, but Elon Musk from SpaceX allowed some of his Starlink hookups to be utilized by Ukrainians. Now, according to this article, his interpretation was, or his belief was, that they would be used for peaceful means, communicating, perhaps drop off or pickup of, you know, foods, perhaps clothing, things that, you know, the civilians there in Ukraine need. And I'll tell you, I've been studying this for a while now, since this craziness is going on. And the big losers of all this are most definitely the Ukrainian people. They're hurting. Now, you may or may not have heard me articulate my stance on Ukraine, and while some might call it pro-Russian, what I would call it is pro-peace, okay? I do believe that the best thing for the Ukrainians is peace. Now, those who stand with Ukraine, okay, they might also say, yeah, we need peace, we need Russia to get out of there. And that would be great, and I don't think Russia, especially its troops, want to be there. The fact of the matter is, however, that the aggressive nature of Western powers, backed by Western central bankers, has made it such that every agreement that was made between NATO and the Russian Federation has been voided by the behavior of these Western aggressors. And this is my opinion. Okay, again, if you want to take a different stance, that's fine. You can throw in on the Facebook comments, give a call at 956-789-0702, and have it out with me. Politely, of course. We're on radio. That said, it's pretty clear that the Western nations have systematically encroached upon the border of, and we're going to cover some other stuff about this, the border of Russia. I mean, they've basically done it through, and I'm no expert on, just so you know, Joe, no expert on Eastern European geography here. But we've got Estonia over there, we've got Lithuania, we've got Latvia, we've got all kinds of different Eastern European countries that at one time were neutral. And they were a buffer zone. And it was agreed between NATO and Russia that this buffer zone would exist, and they wouldn't either or impede upon that zone. Well, of course, the Western oligarchs, as they are, want to continue a war somewhere or other, or in many places in the world at one time, to sell bullets, sell bandages, and basically keep everyone in fear. They have knocked over those dominoes one after another, and the last one pretty much is Ukraine. So they basically set up biowarfare labs. They have human trafficking organizations there. They have money laundering ops. And yeah, all of our Western civilization, here we are as American citizens, Roel, good to see you, our tax dollars, okay, go to Ukraine and then go back to Republicans and Democrats. Yeah, they're funding Republican and Democrat campaigns on the tax money that they steal from the American public, send it to the jokers in Ukraine because they're all puppets. Okay? Argue with me if you'd like. I can back this up. And then it gets sent back here because it's all a scheme, a scam. And meanwhile, the Ukrainian people suffer. It's not right. It's not right on any level. Again, you can take issue with me about the cause of all this. But the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of suffering going on. In addition to the Ukrainian suffering, it's people in Turkey who are, I think the last stat that I heard, an ugly one, was 20,000 dead due to earthquakes there. If anyone follows the Bible, you don't have a long way to go to convince me that we are in the last times, the last days. That said, we have no date, we have no hour, so we will just keep on keeping on. And Lord willing, we'll have peace in our time. We can strive for it. We might not believe it's going to happen, but we can strive for it. Jaime, good to see you. Good to see you here. So, when Zelensky lashes out about Starlink, what it means is he and his troops were using this to power drones so that they could basically dial in the mortars, dial in whatever attack vehicles they had, and also make sure they knew where the Russians were and so forth. I can imagine that on a modern war scenario that you would want these drones, but Starlink got cut off because Elon Musk says, well, I sent it there for peacekeeping missions, for supplying food, clothing, and all that, medical supplies for the civilians, and apparently it wasn't used for that, so he cut it off, and they're not exactly happy about it. So SpaceX President Gwen Shotwell, in a statement, asserted that Starlink technology was never meant to be weaponized. According to BBC, she made reference to Ukraine's alleged use of Starlink to control drones and stressed that the equipment had been provided for humanitarian use. So, there was a corruption of purpose, which seems to occur pretty much every time governments get into the mix. Oh no, Jaime says, Otter, Facebook has restricted me. Those sons up. What the? Eddie, you're on too. Good to see you, Eddie. So, another Eddie. Jaime, what have they restricted you from? Hopefully nothing very personal and enjoyment laden. So, here we are. And what do we got here? This is again Zero Hedge. FBI says possible criminal charges over Chinese balloon components. Whoa! Joe, can you believe that? The FBI is getting serious. Yeah. Not only have they gone into Joe Biden's home for classified documents, now they're really serious. They're considering criminal charges, Joe. Wow. Criminal charges to Facebook. To Facebook. We're on Facebook Live and Eddie's on Facebook. And Jaime apparently is being restricted by Facebook. Hopefully, Jaime, you're fully clothed. Because if you're not, that could be a source of restriction. Or maybe you took off your clothes because you were restricted. I don't know, but I digress. So the FBI says possible criminal charges over Chinese balloon components. The FBI confirmed it is now in the process of decontaminating some balloon remains. What do you think of... What? Anyway, by removing seawater and salt, there are contaminants. I should have just had patience. Further, the FBI backed an earlier State Department statement in describing the evidence from the balloon's components could be used for intelligence and possible criminal charges could result. Now, there's more to the article, but I'm not going to bore you. Basically, I included it in today's broadcast because it seems to me patently absurd, okay, that the Facebook, that the FBI, who knows, maybe they're in cahoots, the the FBI people are threatening to arrest someone in China, they can't even do it here. Not anybody that really needs arresting anyway. Okay, you walk sideways, you jaywalk, the FBI might have you. What time I got here? Can you get me off the hook for old time's sake? I can try. I can try, Jaime. I'm going to give it a shot. I just don't know what hook you're on. Let me know. So, Nord Stream sabotage with CIA. This is a good one. This is a good one, everybody. I saw probably a half an hour video. If you'd like the link to it, send me an email. I'll send you the link, okay? So, it was a retired general, or no, I'm sorry, a colonel, U.S. Military colonel. And what he was describing was how we, as in the U.S., if you want to call it the royal we, hey Rudy, good to see you, is basically we blew up. We blew it up. We blew up the Nord Stream. Now, if you need a little refresher, the Nord Stream was a natural gas pipeline, and there might have been oil involved too, because there's a couple different pipelines there. And it went from Russia to Germany. So this pipeline was connecting Russia and Germany in ways that threaten the control of the American stranglehold on energy, which is loosening, much to the dismay of these individuals. It's loosening. Rico, good to see you, Rico. So, what happened with this Nord Stream? What happened was somebody blew the thing up. And the manner in which it was blown up, from the very beginning, it was obvious that it was some sort of state actor or some billionaire out there that could afford the technology that was used, because you're not just going to go down there with a snorkel, okay, and hook up a couple M80s or a stick of dynamite if you're Cajun, right? They have dynamite everywhere. Anyway, I don't know why I said that, but I did, and I'll stand by it. Anyway, you're not going to be able to do that and blow up this Nord Stream pipe. No way. So you got to have all this, technology that's going to be able to do this stuff. And that's exactly what was described in this article. So after conducting his own investigation into who sabotaged the Nord Stream pipelines, Hirsch, and this is the gentleman, he's a reporter, basically. So this reporter, apparently they're still out there. Investigative reporters are still in the world. And this one, Mr. Hirsch, okay, he's concluded that the United States blew up the Russia to Germany natural gas pipe as part of a covert operation under the guise of an exercise. I won't give you the technical terms of this exercise. Immaterial. It was a NATO exercise. NATO. Gee, where have we heard their aggressive nature before? So, the Navy proposed using a newly commissioned submarine to assault the pipeline directly. Jeepers. Anyway, there was a technology by which signals were being sent that were unmistakable, and it made it so that the explosives would be detonated on this pipeline at a time of their choosing, and that's exactly what happened. So, to give you a little bit of background on this Nord Stream thing, this would have given Germans the ability to heat themselves in the winter. And you know what? The Western aggressors did not want that. Okay? Yeah, I'm going off on these Western aggressors, of which the United States, I am a citizen, are one of them. So, what does this all mean? It means that there was a connection between Russia and Germany that the usual suspects did not want. Okay? Because Germany was being supplied gas, energy that they desperately need from Russia. So they wanted to sever that, and they did. Now, of course, they blamed it on Russia. What else? That's what they do. That's, their normal MO. They're going to blame it on Russia. So what happens when you blame it on Russia? You try to deflect, but, there's people out there. This guy, Hirsch, he's an older guy. He's, from the days when you weren't paid by the same people that create this chaos. But most of the reporters nowadays are paid by the same people, so it's all wah, 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 wah. You remember that, Joe? From, maybe I'm dating myself, Charlie Brown's Teacher. Wah, 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 yeah. So that's basically the modern mainstream press nowadays. And they're saying they're all saying the same thing. Doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of bunk. Anyway, we have another story here. And the last one was out of Zero Hedge, and so is this. Fierce backlash as Project Veritas sidelines James O'Keefe after Pfizer bombshells. You think that's a coincidence? I don't know how many of you have seen that, but he basically went undercover, or one of his operatives did. There was a guy, and you know, he was gay, so another guy from Veritas, basically they hooked up on some sort of app, and he began to talk to them on a first date kind of thing, and this Pfizer executive basically said things like, "Wow, yeah, we're going to modify this coronavirus thing so that we can sell more vaccines." And after that, James O'Keefe came in, and he basically blew the doors off of this thing in a public place. And this Pfizer executive went crazy. I mean, he freaked out. He flopped on the floor. I suspect he had a very high intake of soy, because when you have a high intake of soy as a man, your masculinity is very much under attack, and it's soy is a detriment to anyone's T levels. So try to avoid that. Anyway, that's just another sidebar, another advantage to checking out the Bitcoin Otter Show. I'll let you in on those things. If you want to debate about it, pop up. Give us a call. Anyway, so the board of directors of Project Veritas on Wednesday placed its founder and chairman, James O'Keefe, on paid leave. Ladies and gentlemen, if you followed anything about Project Veritas, you'll know that it's nothing without James O'Keefe. He's the one who started it. He's the one with the very large intestinal fortitude that it takes to do the things that they do. Santos, good to see you. So, what we're realizing here is that right after this Pfizer thing, boom, he gets bumped. So, obviously there's some sort of connection there. Whether they'd like to hide that, and I'm sure they do, is immaterial. There is obviously a connection. He basically makes this guy made himself look like a fool. It was just crazy. You got to watch it. So, anyway, if you want to link, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, and I'll send you this stuff. All right, here's a couple from the Gateway Pundit, and we're basically past the halfway point, so I'm going to do a quick review. So we got the gold and silver prices out there. Dubai takes a stand against privacy coins. Don't think you're going to do anything private in Dubai. Zelensky lashes out at Starlink because he wanted to drone some people. And I guess Elon Musk didn't want that. FBI wants criminal charges over Chinese balloon components. Oh, FBI, where are you going with that? So they want to arrest people that... Are they going to go to China? What are they going to do? I don't know. Anyway, Nord Stream sabotage with CIA, U.S. Navy covert op. Wow. I mean, any of us who've been following this stuff for a while had no doubt about that. And then Project Veritas basically cans. He's on paid leave. The guy that made it all happen, right? So, James O'Keefe, yeah. So therein may lie another blow to real journalism. Guys like James O'Keefe and Mr. Hirsch, who basically showed us that the whole Nord Stream thing was the usual suspects again, as we probably knew already. So this is from the Gateway Pundit. Here's some more things going on here. Live stream video. They were live stream. It is not now. Select subcommittee led by Jim Jordan holds hearing on weaponization of federal government against its citizens. You know, on the surface, we may not think that the federal government is weaponized against its citizens. Then we think again. So there are many examples, and admittedly I didn't prep for this prior to the show, but off the top of my head, a weaponization can come in many forms, and when the government in some way or form reaches out, and I'm just going to use this as an example, and these Twitter executives that were canned by Elon Musk are now on the hot seat in front of Congress. So when the government or government entities or agents of the government reach out to social media assets or to media assets, and it seeks to, this agent or this agency seeks to censor the viewpoint of someone using either like in this case it was Twitter as a proxy to censor, to basically infringe upon the free speech of Americans, then yes, that is a weaponization. That is a faction of government which is supposedly supported by the people, supposedly governed by the people, we the people, by the people, for the people, to come against people. Now, is it the vast majority of people? Maybe, maybe not. But that's immaterial, because the weaponization of a government, a portion of government, or even the whole government, it really and seriously bodes ill for our republic. We can't have the government targeting people's free speech. Now, it's been happening for a long time. Some would argue since the inception of the United States of America, and you'd probably be right. That said, it has only ramped up lately. And this censorship, weaponization is going to be unraveled. I'm an optimist, right? So I believe it's going to be unraveled. And right now it's beginning in Congress, where they're putting these Twitter executives on the hot seat. If you want a little bit of insight, it's pretty much everywhere. You can check it out. I think it's even live, and the Gateway Pundit had it. So on a little segue there, according to the subcommittee leaders, dozens of whistleblowers have told our committee about the politicization of, that's easy for me to say, Joe, of the FBI and DOJ. These aren't Republican talking points. These are the real agents who have put their careers on the line to tell us what they're seeing. So, regardless, there are whistleblowers. It's happening. Check it out if you're interested. If you want to talk about it, if you want to hear anything about this, again, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Here's another report, how the GOP establishment is plotting to stop Trump in 2024. So, Donald Trump is going to run again in 2024. Personally, if you want to know my opinion, and if you don't, you're not here to stop me. But my opinion on all this is that no one else can be as effective as Donald Trump, especially against the mainstream media. It's not going to happen. He's the guy. He's the hammer. You know, everybody wants to say, yeah, you know, he's a tool, and he is. He's a tool. Ian, good to see you, Ian. Glad to see you can make it with us today. Talking about Donald Trump and him going to run again, and an array, Democrats, Republicans, and many others coming against him running. And I do believe it's out of fear, because I'll tell you what, if and when he gets back, he's not going to be afraid to be reelected. He's not going to be constrained in policy against freeing American businesses, freeing American manufacturing ability. And I think, and I'm going to make a note of this, I'm going to make a lot of notes one of these days, and I'm going to create a show basically outlining what I believe to be the optimistic future of the United States of America. And it has everything to do with manufacturing. We see in the world a severing of long-held ties internationally between nations, and alliances of nations, nation groups. We can use, you know, NATO and BRICS and so forth. We can go there. But the fact of the matter is that the unipolar, as Vlad Putin likes to call it, the unipolar do it our way or the highway method of the Western centrally owned nations, that do it my way or the highway attitude is gone. We might not know it yet. We might think it's still there, but it's gone. So let me hold on to that thought. Santos says, how do you feel about DeSantis wanting to run against Trump? Good question. I think DeSantis, from what he's shown me and not getting conspiratorial, I think DeSantis is a great governor. Now, there are people who would go against that, okay? And one of those people, I think I've mentioned this before, her name is Megan Walsh. She is the daughter of John Walsh, whose son Adam was killed, I believe, in the 90s, or the 80s maybe. It was a while back. It was a while back. It was when I was young, so that was a while back. But anyway, Megan Walsh claims that DeSantis has done very little to curb child trafficking in Florida. I don't know that, but I'm just using that as an example of someone who has a counterpoint to everyone's positive points on Governor DeSantis, of whom I think is a good governor, based on what I've seen. The lockdowns were very brief in Florida, as far as the draconian measures through the government towards, the government in general, towards this virus, this man-made China virus called the coronavirus, that was unleashed upon us by actors hitherto unknown. So, yeah, DeSantis is pretty good, but running against Trump, DeSantis can't do. Just looking at his personality, he seems to be freedom-minded, but he's not Trump. Trump started this. And I'm not just speaking about the United States having a nationalistic revival for our freedoms, for our independence, for our love of the Bill of Rights and freedom. It went international. When the people of the United States elected Donald Trump, he invigorated nationalism, patriotism. Ladies and gentlemen, patriotism is a great thing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be American patriotism. Here in the U.S., of course, yes. But you need, if you're a citizen of any country in this world, you need to be patriotic about that country because it's where you live. It's where your family is being raised. Patriotism is a good thing. Now, it has borders. It has limits. You don't want to spill over to, attack and kill other people in other countries when unprovoked. Of course not. But be proud of your nation. Juan, good to see you. Be proud of your nation. Be proud of what it is that has been accomplished by it if it's a good nation. And if it's not, be patriotic and reach out to other nations that have it, better than you, so that hopefully something can be worked out. But DeSantis is not Donald Trump. DeSantis can be utilized by the usual suspects to bump their most feared adversary. Make no mistake, Donald Trump is the most feared adversary, or he represents, depending on what your beliefs are, on where Donald Trump stands and whether or not he's a tool of perhaps, a faction of patriots, as I do. They fear what Donald Trump represents. Why do they fear it? Because it breaks their control. They have control over veritably everything, okay, in the Western Hemisphere. So that's falling apart, as we can see. But Donald Trump represents the initial stand against globalism. And he went into the UN and told them as such. Can DeSantis carry that off? I don't think so. I don't think anybody else can do it. Not to the degree that Donald Trump does. That's my opinion. We can argue, we can debate, that's fine. But, Santos, I hope that answers your question. DeSantis, to me, is a distraction. I don't know if I could put that into a nickname. But anyway, I'll work on that. So, back to the manufacturing thing. Donald Trump brought manufacturing back to the United States, right? So, I remember, I think it was Ford wanted to go into Mexico, which I think they subsequently did after Trump was, cheated out of the election in 2020. So, now Ford is in Mexico. Why? Because there's no one there to fight for America when in regards to manufacturing. I sincerely believe, and I am optimistic about this, that when these coalitions of nations internationally begin to break up, and they are beginning now, each individual country will see the need, the drastic in dire need to manufacture goods in their own countries. Yes, we're still going to have some countries that have more natural resources, iron ore, aluminum, whatever you want to point at, uranium. They have these natural resources that are going to be exported to other nations. But to one degree or another, we're going to need to be independent, not just speak about it, but to be independent and to be manufacturers of solid goods, technologies, and things that are going to keep our societies free from these globalists that want to bring us all into and under their control. So I see a good thing coming out of all this. I see we being forced, perhaps in an uncomfortable way, back into a mini or hopefully a maxi manufacturing industrial revolution. We're going to bring this stuff back. We're going to get jobs. We're going to get opportunities. We're going to get people who not only can succeed, but they can succeed based on merit, not based on the color of their skin or the language they speak or where they come from in the world, but based on their ability. You know, the content of their character, like Martin Luther King said. Those are going to be the people that rise, fall, or are somewhere instrumental in the middle. That's what's in store for the world, I believe. And again, I'm an optimist. I like to think this way. Renee, good to see you. I believe that we have good things in our future, but I also believe that we're going to go through a rough spot. Rougher than we've experienced. It's going to be pretty dark, I believe, because it's going to be financial, and every one of us are in some way or form tied to a monetary system. And it's an evil one, guys. It's an evil one, and I can go on all day. We're almost ready to sign out. But the system that is now choking our country, choking the lifeblood out of the freedom that we had inherited from our forefathers. As Benjamin Franklin told an older woman, apparently after they came out of some sort of Congress in the old days, she asked him, she says, what, sir, do we have? And he said, a republic, ma'am, if we can keep it. So we've kept it, for the most part, over 200 years, and we're in jeopardy of losing it because we haven't exercised the freedoms that we espouse. We haven't defended them to a large degree. And I'm not talking about militarily or anything like that. I'm talking about individually. We've become people that have watched TV so much that we believe what a guy in a suit and a tie tells us on a box that's sitting or mounted on a wall in our living room. We believe these people. If the woman's halfway decent looking and she's got a dress on, oh man, she's really telling us the truth, Otter. Why would she lie? Well, because she's paid to. That's why. So we've become people that have largely sat back and allowed things to occur on our watch. And it's not just our generation. It's not. I'm one of the believers. Hey, Sue, good to see you. I'm one of the believers that as a country, we've got a lot to answer for. And I do believe we're going to move in that direction. But one of the biggest things we have to answer for, and it's coming up more and more ultimate lately, is the assassination of John F. Kennedy. We still have that blood on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We're allowing government agencies to hide this information from us. We're allowing this information to be classified. Right? And you're saying to yourself, how am I going to be able to stop, these people from hiding this from us? Well, maybe you or I alone can't. But we need to revisit these kind of things, okay? There are answers out there. They're there. But we don't know them because we're allowing these agencies to block this information from us. Oh, some might say, oh, national security, Otter. We've got national security. There are people whose lives are at stake. I'll tell you what. All of our lives are at stake. Because if we lose this country, it's over for freedom in the world. We're the last bastion. We're the city on the hill. We're not so bright anymore, right? We've become the destruction of many different nations. Now, I say we, the royal we, because we've allowed these warmongers to stay in power, right? And I'll name a few: Bolton, I'll name one, Victoria Nuland. I'll name them George Bush. I'll name them Barack Hussein Obama. I'll name them. These people are leaders, and all they want is war. Why do they want? They get paid. And their kids are not going. They're not getting off their couch. They don't have any blood to lose. It's our blood. It's our kids' blood that they're spreading all over the place. And people who don't need to be killed. Right? They go into villages. They just, we whack, collateral damage. Whatever. No. No. And what you saw under Donald Trump was a very, very significant lessening of these warmongers' ability to go in and do these things. This guy, he took, listen, Kim Jong-un, this madman we've been told, Donald Trump girded up his loins and they had to be contained probably in a wheelbarrow at the time. And he walked over the DMZ and shook hands with this guy that we've been terrorized from, or told to be terrorized about, for a generation. Between him and his dad, more than one generation. And he shook his hand. He made peace. He made peace. And you don't think that Donald Trump would make peace in Ukraine if he was in? Of course he would. So, Santos, again, to your question about DeSantis, he's not Trump. He can't do these things. I don't believe he can. Ray, good to see you, Ray. So, we come to a point in our nation, and I'm going to wind this up, everybody. I'm going to wind this up. I guess I got wound up myself. But I'm going to tell you that we are at a point in our nation now where we must stand up. We must come together, regardless of our background, regardless of our, ethnic differences. I want to tell you one more thing before I guess I stop my rant. This diversity stuff is bunk. We are diverse by nature. Why celebrate diversity when we can celebrate unity? We can come together for a common cause that benefits all of us. Why don't we unify? Why must we divest any bonds between us? Why must we be diverse instead of universe? Remember that, if anybody remembers back when they used to teach at a university, they used to teach in universities things that weren't Marxist, okay? And when they would teach these things, what they used is a method of bringing the diverse into a universal perspective. Not agreed upon by all. It was arguable, but they tried to make things into a symbiotic formula so that others can understand, empathize with. That's why they call it university, okay? Of the diverse becomes the university of thought, okay? You might differ. You might have other issues. You might come from a different part of the world. You might speak a different language. Your culture might be different. That's fine. But let's come together and study things. Let's come together and be... It's on our money, guys. E pluribus unum, right? From the many are one. We unite. Let's do that as Americans. Yeah, sure, it's a melting pot if you want to call it that, but we're in the same pot. Might as well enjoy ourselves as we're, doing a backstroke through it or whatever, because it's become a cesspool. We've allowed it to be this way. Let's stop this mess. Let's bring it back to moral principles where we respect each other. We respect each other's ideas. We give each other opportunity to speak. And listen, I guess I'm on a rant here. So, Robert, good to see you. So, Sue says, hey, times haven't changed. It's always the little guy as cannon fodder. Yeah, so there is a delay here. So the comment was referencing when I said that, these warmongers in American government, and they're not just in American government, right? So these warmongers, right, Bibi Netanyahu? Right? Yeah, I'm calling out warmongers now. A lot of people just love war because, again, their kids aren't in. So the normal person, the regular guy, okay, those are the people that go to war. Those are the people that get killed on foreign battlefields. Thank God it's been foreign, right? These warmongers have concentrated outside of the United States, all to engorge themselves by raiding us inside the United States. But I digress. I really appreciate all of you watching. I don't know if I lost anybody on this rant. It wasn't expected. I didn't plan it. I don't know if you agree with it, disagree with it. Sue agrees, so at least one person does agree. I try to keep my emotions out of it to some extent, and I know that we can't appreciate certain sentiments. That is understandable. But what I would like to say is, if I'm going to stoke any emotion, the biggest emotion we can have is the emotion towards our Maker. And I don't want this to be a sermon of any sorts, and we are going to end the broadcast pretty quick, but anything that comes out of Bitcoin Otter that is good, anything that comes out of the show that thank God Joe and I bumped into each other almost a year ago in church, and he offered me this show. Anything that comes of it, I pray that God is in it, because if he's not, then it's useless or worse. So I would like to give a shout out to our Creator God and his Son Jesus Christ. And I don't do that flippantly. I'm saying that we have everything to give thanks to him for. We have especially our lives, our family, but also our nation. This nation under God, literally, can be rightfully said to be blessed by God. But I want to warn all of us, including myself, we can step outside of those blessings. And more we're seeing that some Americans are doing just that. Let's gently try to bring them back into the center, so that we as Americans can not only bless ourselves, our family, and our nation, but the world, which we actually did for generations. People in the world benefited greatly from our generosity. Let's bring that back. Let's help people where they're at. Unlimited illegal immigration is not the answer. Let's help them where they're at. You know, you got somebody who has to walk 2 hours to get to a well and back for water. Why don't we sink a well there instead of inviting them all over here? Right? So, all that to say, I really appreciate you listening. Any counterpoints, any counter narratives, any different viewpoints that you would like me to talk on or have a guest on, remember my email address is bitcoinotter.media, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. So let me have it. Either way, I'd like to see what you want to talk about, what you'd like to see, and I think Joe and I are working up a good interview coming up. So I'm going to get back with a newfound friend of mine. Okay, his name's Mike Pack, and we're going to see if I haven't even told him I have a show. So we're in that phase of friendship where we're kind of telling each other about ourselves. So it's been a blessing getting to know him, and he would be somebody that I believe all of you would like to hear from. Now that said, again, I thank you for being here. I thank you for tuning in on 97.7 FM, KCYP The City out of McAllen, Texas. YouTube, Facebook, Radio Garden, and I keep forgetting this one. I'm going to write it down, Joe. What's that last one, the new one?
TuneIn Radio app.
TuneIn Radio app. Check it out. Thank you. Have a great Thursday. Hug your family. God bless America. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. Let's be Americans. Let's make America great again. We're out. And we're almost out. Joe's giving me the signal. Joe's giving me the signal. And we're out. We're off. Okay, Facebook, we're a little bit late on that. Thank you for being with us. YouTube, I don't know if we're still on YouTube, but thank you. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.